Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my dear friend, Scott Jenkins, who was born right here in Calgary. Scott has mentioned that he has seen the challenges on our healthcare system and the amazing people that work in that world firsthand through his wife's eyes. She is the Assistant Dean for undergrads at the University of Calgary Medical School, as well as a cardiologist. He has watched and admired her and her team's ability to navigate through so much uncertainty and challenges, and he is in constant awe of her capabilities. They are blessed with two great kids who are 8 and 10 years old. They both love every sport under the sun and always crack them both up. So fun. Scott is also passionate about contributing to the well-being and betterment of our communities and the city we live in. In the past, he has taken on board and fundraising roles for numerous organizations, as well as hosted the annual Sugar Shack Stampede event, which I loved, by the way. I had no idea it was because of you, Scott, so thank you. For the last 20 years, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for great charities like Hospice Calgary, past PAC or SC, Canadian Cancer Society, and the JDRF. Such a good human. And you will find his full bio attached. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate being on today.
Thank you. Are you ready for the questions that we sent you?
I hope so. They're detailed, that's for sure.
Oh, well, I know you're going to rock it. So what's been your greatest challenge in the last few months?
There's been a few, and luckily I had a chance to think about this a little bit. You mentioned in the introduction, obviously, my wife, Dr. Sarah Weeks, watching her and her colleagues, both at the University of Calgary Medical School, but also in terms of their practice and delivering care for all of the patients, and how do they navigate an incredibly stressful time for all of our frontline workers. And they've done an amazing, amazing job. So I sort of see that firsthand. And then, for us, obviously, what's been interesting has been actually starting a new company during the worldwide pandemic. That wasn't our intent. Some circumstances presented themselves, and a group of incredibly talented people have kind of come together in April and May, and now June, July, and August to start ZS2 Technologies. So, someone well, and I worked very closely with many years ago at DIRT, Mogan Smed said to me, he said, Scott, I'm 72 and I've started a new business, but it really takes you, only you would take a worldwide pandemic and start a new business. So I appreciated that comment. I took that as, I wasn't sure if that was a slight or a compliment. I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Take it as a compliment, Scott. Can you go a little deeper on what you guys do? Like what and why start in the middle of all this?
So really simply, like ZS2 Technologies, and I'll give you a little bit of history and family connection on the name. ZS2 is focused on development and commercialization of prefabricated construction technologies. So our current suite of products are prefabricated panels, board, wall systems, really for exterior construction. The benefit of our technology, and one of my dear partners in the business, Dr. Doug Brown, is a PhD chemist, is the fire resistance. It's impervious to mold, mildew, bacteria, higher thermal ratings. So it's a more sustainable building solution, but it also combines the efficiencies of prefab, so it's very cost effective for our clients.
Cool.
So it's really taking kind of pushing new technologies, but really material science would be sort of our foundation. And then we're exploring new materials for other parts of the building structure, both internal, exterior. So we call ourselves a building technology company.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Scott. And what are your 3 things that you would like to share with the audience today?
Well, we were chatting just ahead of the interview a little bit, and I've had the pleasure of watching some of your other guests who I know well, especially in construction. Both, obviously we know Kathy Soroka at Goldray well, an amazing leader. Lara Murphy and her company done an amazing job. And so, number one, I was thinking about that somewhere. communicate. Our team, obviously we're using a lot of video calls right now. Things have improved a little bit so we can have face-to-face, but we've really, really tried to communicate not just within the company, our new company, so not just within ZS2, but also to all of our stakeholders, whether it's the investors, clients, potential clients, and really be out front, whether it's email communications, video calls. Second thing is what I've sort of become famous for a little bit internally now, or infamous for, is I call them the walk and talks, which is the new COVID meeting. So we head down to Phil and Sebastian's or to Starbucks on 4th Street. And I've got a little loop that everybody's getting a little tired of, but it's beautiful. You head over towards, the old Holy Cross Hospital, you cross the bridge on the Elbow River, and you make a nice little slow loop, maybe stop at a park bench, and there's your hour catch up with your team members and potential clients, and you've had some nice fresh air, and you look at your step counter at the end of the day, and next thing you know, you're at 20,000 steps, and you wonder where the day went. It's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And why didn't we do that before, right?
Now, I was thinking about this because someone made the comment, ask me if we're still doing this in January, if I can keep it up.
No.
I'm not certain. I'm not certain about that. I may try. No.
I'm not coming for coffee with you in January.
Yeah. The second big thing I think is for us at ZS2, starting a new company that's focused on, building technologies. What's been interesting about these times is people seem to be a little more open to having discussions about a new way of doing things. So I think in challenging times, there's interesting opportunities for those that really think about them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what those are for everyone, but for us, it's definitely presented some opportunities. And we've really been excited about how fast things have been going. Like, for our company, we've set out 12 strategic goals to achieve by September. And we've accomplished 10, and by the end of this week, we'll have number 11 in the bag. So
wow.
It's been, and that's a credit to the team. That's not on me. It's the team. They are so committed to the vision, and they're just going a million miles an hour. But so you take these challenging times, and you think we can sit back and complain, or we can just say, no, this is the new normal. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
I love it. Wow, very good. Yeah. So how big is your team now?
So we're 8 full-time, 5. So we're in the process of merging with another small manufacturing company that has 5 full-time. Wow. And then there's about another half dozen part-time right now. And like I said, since April or May. Wow. Right now we're still virtual. We have manufacturing in British Columbia and Alberta with the company that we're merging with. And really taking them under the ZS2 banner. So by the fall, my guess would be about 20, 25. Awesome. Great group of people, such a talented group of people. Again, challenging times, people are like, hey, let's go figure something out. And this is exciting, it's new. We know there's an opportunity, we know there's a market. There's some great partners out there supporting us, some of whom have already been on your interview and your podcast, which has been great. Really appreciate all their support. So yeah. Then, you asked me, the third thing I was thinking about a lot, and it ties to your opening remarks, is I'm really fortunate. I have never spent more quality time with my kids and my wife over during COVID. With kids being pulled out of school, we get to do a lot of fun times. The schedule is much more flexible. It's possible at any moment one of them's going to run in here right now to say hello.
Nice.
And I've actually, I encourage it. Or if other folks I'm talking with, if sometimes people they apologize when a family member crosses in the path. I'm like, no, great, say hello.
Yeah.
This is the life we're leading. We're working, and our lives, our work life and our home life. Of course, I don't know about your commute, but my commute's about 20 steps, maybe. The executive washroom's about 5 steps. So that's been a blessing in disguise, is awesome. Quality family time. Yeah.
That's awesome, Scott. I'm so glad. I'm really happy for you and your family.
Well, thank you.
And the good news or legacy or what you'd like to leave us with?
Your opening remarks, you touched, we have an interesting household here where, I've started a new business with my partners. So it's been interesting, challenging times, but watching my wife and all of her colleagues, the healthcare professionals and the administrators and everybody trying to deal with, a medical school that now has to deliver some things remotely. That's very difficult. But also with patient care issues, frontline issues, potentially preparing for a second wave, or of course, when the first wave was growing and we didn't know how that would go. But seeing that and just, really talking about and working through things and taking a positive attitude and trying to make positive change. And that's sort of tied into our, creation of ZS2 and really trying to make a positive change in the construction world with higher performing materials, better for the planet, more sustainable, reducing energy consumption, but also a made in Alberta solution.
Mm-hmm.
We're an Alberta-based company. We're really proud. We're proud of, just the entrepreneurial spirit that's here in Alberta, the tremendous support. And we want to be able to grow into hopefully a North American company and a international company, but this Alberta advantage, and it really is homegrown, and taking that positive attitude, tough times. And again, let's just go, let's get it done.
I love it, Scott. Thank you. May we just sidestep for 1 second before we close?
Sure.
You know that I'm passionate about brain and mental health in all ways. Now, as a leader, before our interview, you mentioned that you've got a great group of other executives that when COVID hit, you just got tighter. Probably communication was around, what's the mental health of our team, et cetera. Can you just go into a little bit, are you able to share the group that you're part of? What does it look like? How did it feel through this crisis to have these members of the community around you? And then how did that serve you and them and their organizations?
So two things, one, so I'm very fortunate, a few years ago, I was invited to join the YPO organization. So a group of other executives, but with very diverse businesses. So gotten to know these individuals, their family members incredibly well. And it's an incredibly tight-knit group. Our families are actually incredibly close. We do a family trip every 2 years. And so we made sure to set up regular conference calls, check-ins, because some of the business challenges have been, obviously we've seen revenue in some of their industries go from, whatever decrease by 95% or even more. So it's been very challenging. But there's been an interesting shift as we helped support each other, but coach each other, also sometimes challenge each other in very direct ways about survival. Then the next stage, of course, being, okay, what does the new normal look like, or what's the potential hold? And now it's moving to how do we thrive in the new environment, knowing that there is a new environment and knowing that there's going to be more challenges. So again, it kind of goes back to our comments about communicate, understanding, empathy. And then I'd say I'd add one little twist to it with both that group, an amazing group of individuals and leaders, but also with our new ZS2 team. We've held a few virtual lounge nights where we could all have a glass of wine or a beer. Sometimes there's some themes. And we tried on these calls, we try not to talk. There's a bit of a rule. We're not allowed to talk about work, both with former colleagues, new colleagues with the YPO group. Sometimes it's just nice to hear each other's voice.
Totally.
Just a social gathering.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Scott.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you so much for joining us today on Cast Track. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy.
Well, I really appreciate it. I love chatting with you. And I love the interviews you're doing with these amazing community leaders. It's been great to watch. I've had a chance to watch a lot of them. So keep it up, please.
Thank you, Scott. Well, you've been a great addition. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody, that was my friend Scott Jenkins. Check out amazing technology and how they're making a positive impact on our great world. Have a great day, and we'll see you at the next one.